guys, it's Jouelzy and it's Veda number 11. I ran out of fingers because that's more than 10. Oh my gosh, we might be a little bit behind, but we are keeping up with it. We're going to have 31 vlogs this month of August. And we are here with a little bit of a heavier topic because this week I've been talking about relationships and really having a kiki with the girls. We did a story time. We've given some tips, some advice, giving you public service announcements, but oftentimes with relationship advice at women, it's almost like we put all the importance on sexual and dating relationships, and often we don't really talk about how important or impactful the other relationships in our life are, whether they're friends. And I've covered several topics on friendships for my Smart Brown Girls, career, and then something I haven't talked a whole lot about, which is family. And here we have a vlog with the headline Heat. My family is not Black excellence. This is going to be a little bit trickier to talk about, but bear with me. I promise this will be a good one. As you can see, I have my red and white Smart Brown Girl cap. It comes in several different colors. But for those who just like red and white, it's here for you. And head over to shop.smartbrowngirl.com to get your Smart Brown gear on. And of course, I am still attempting to raise $5,000 to help cover the legal costs so I can launch my own Smart Brown Girl podcast. I promise it'll be so lit. So for this month of August, I am asking you to give whatever you can as a one-time donation, either via my Patreon or to the Smart Brown Girl PayPal account. Details on everything are right here and in the description box down below. I resent that my family is not Black excellence. This is not just about wealthy or success or careers or establishment. It's much more nuanced than that, so I need to give some background. I grew up in a pacifist religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. I've done a video on that experience already. And during my childhood at the time, and I do believe that they have since changed their stance on this, Jehovah's Witnesses poignantly did not encourage their members to pursue secular education past high school. Most of my peers from the Kingdom Hall went into trade schools for high school so that they could be employed right after and then have time to focus on building their spirituality. And as you know, the witnesses do go out and fill service and knock on people's doors, and so that was a big part of being a witness and having time to do that instead of pursuing a college education. On top of that, I did grow up in Delaware, where the major industries are pretty much banking, education, and pharmaceutical, all which require some sort of advanced degrees. So in turn, my siblings and I grew up around a lot of lower middle labor workers. I spoke with my mom before addressing this topic and she was okay with it, but I did ask her, think about it. Growing up, what models of leadership did we have? Did we see any women of color, people of color who were in leadership positions? Were we exposed to any witnesses who were in leadership roles? I know of one woman growing up in our Kingdom Hall who was a principal, and she did have her master's degree, and I actually ended up going and interning for her. I also distinctly remember hearing the kind of, it wasn't like overt, but the kind of judgment of people feeling like she didn't have enough humility in her faith because she had pursued advanced degrees. Also because of their religion and because both sides of my family are practicing witnesses, getting together as a family on holidays just didn't happen. One, because we don't celebrate the holidays, so there wasn't an importance around them spending the extra cost to travel to each other around the holiday period. But that was such a lost opportunity because it's like, what other time of year does everyone have off for extended days? And we just never. And it's that familial wealth is not just about finances, it's resources, it's access, it's a foundation, both physical and emotional. To my parents' credit, the emotional foundation they have given me is something that I will forever be grateful for. It's not that I needed my family to all be super accomplished, bougie Black folk who are wealthy, but it is that on several different levels, my family isn't particularly tight-knit. With the extended families, nobody really gets together. Then I don't have anybody in my family that works in any sort of leadership role in any sort of industry. And then with the recession happening in 2008, that definitely negatively impacted my family. Essentially, me nor any of my siblings have a place to turn to if we don't have a home. And I think this is an identity that a lot of first generation college students can relate to. Pull a group of your friends who have achieved some sort of success in their career path and ask them about the points in their career that help them to further to the next step. And oftentimes you will find some sort of familial connection that helped them get there. It's not that my dad gave me a small loan of $100,000 or $1 million. It is that I had an aunt that I could stay with while I interned in this city. It is that I have an uncle who had a friend who's in this organization that's for Black dentists, and I was able to go talk to him and find out about dental schools. You just don't understand how much those family connections can provide just a foot up until you realize you don't have any of those connections to provide that foot up with. Me growing up in a pacifist religion that did not encourage secular education, I do feel like on some level was damning towards me and all my siblings pursuing successful careers, especially as me and my brother both go into being entrepreneurs, and literally there's just nothing we can turn to our families for. Like, I can't talk to either of my parents about being any sort of entrepreneur and asking them, they don't know. And it was rough this year, especially going through this lawsuit with my former manager, talking to my mom about this situation. You know, I did tell her about it because me and my mom talk like every day, several times a day. I did get a little frustrated when she was constantly asking for updates, because it was just hard to have this conversation with her, rehash about how crazy and ridiculous, and yes, I did that, and yes, I tried this. And then the end statement is always like, dag, I don't even have nobody I can hit up for you to ask them about this. I mean, I know, Mom, I don't want to be reminded of that. But that's something that I want to be cognizant of, and I want to, remind my smart brown girls and anybody watching this, as you start your own families, to think about the people that you are surrounding your family with. And when I look back at coming of age, I made a lot of decisions based on having to do everything on my own, and not to place blame on anyone else, because I can take ownership of my actions and I honestly live with no regrets. But I do think I would have had a better foundation, or even my siblings would have had a better foundation, if we had had some sort of resources that we could pull from out of our family. And then going forward, it's both when I have my own family, I'm concerned about, because I already have a sibling who is choosing to kind of take on the more dogmatic faith system with religion, and then wondering if when we all have our own children, will we be able to be close in the way that I kind of see it. And I know it's selfish, but I do wish that it would be nice that my children grow up with cousins and with extended family, understand how valuable that is, because that's not something that I had growing up. I'm trying to get over this feeling of being tired that at every turn there's always some new unknown, and how do you navigate the unknown? It's by turning to people that came before you and to finding those outlets. And so I'm always kind of reaching out to different people. It is kind of a sucky feeling to know that you have family, but know that you can't ever really turn to your family. Now when I look at my other peers who have reached success, I really admire my peers who have cousins and siblings and family friends who they can, pursue the world of being an entrepreneur with. Period in time where a lot of people in my age group are becoming entrepreneurs, and a lot of them are utilizing the resources of their family in different organizations, and I just I don't really have that resource. It's not like a woe is me thing, but it is sort of, I'm working through those emotions. But I do think it's very important when we have these complex feelings to be able to talk through them and identify them so we can move on from them, and not allow them to blossom into a much more negative sort of resentment. Nip it in the bud early, and then think about how we are interacting on our own, how we both interact on a social level, and what we need to be more mindful of, and what kind of foundation we want to set for our own familial wealth, because we always have the opportunity to correct whatever errors we think our parents made. This is a bit rough because it's just trying to get my siblings to come around, but maybe, when I do decide to procreate, I'll procreate with a Negro who has that family connection that I'm looking for, or maybe my own family will come around by that. So I hope this wasn't too long-winded. I hope I made sense. Sometimes it's a little bit rougher for me to talk about things that are a bit more emotional to me. But in the comments down below, Do you understand where I'm coming from? I would love to hear some positive stories about how your family has supported you and what is a resource that you have been able to draw from your family outside of money. I'm not interested about the money stuff. Let's talk about it, sis. Let's be the support that we need from each other. All right? All right, don't forget to shop Smart Brown Girl, support, become a patron, and I will see you tomorrow. Deuces!